Down here in San Diego, our local jazz station that I listen to all the time is having their pledge drive, and they are reminding everybody that they are listener supported, Jazz 88.3. And at the start of every free feed show on YouTube and here on the Padres Hot Tub podcast feed, we remind you that we too are a listener supported show. Now, it's not the same as public radio. Slightly different. It's more like private radio or available to the public radio. It's patreon.com/Padres Hot Tub. That's what we're talking about. Your way that you can support our show. And in return for $5 or $12 or $30 a month, we give you way more back in terms of content, in terms of access to a social media platform that isn't run by an absolute crazy man. And I could line that up for several of the social media platforms that you might utilize otherwise. There's a whole lot of value, I think, Chris, to be gained in addition to the value that you bring us for bringing you the Padres content that you enjoy.
First of all, I also contribute to public radio up here and podcasts I love, and that helps me feel good because I know that I'm helping sustain content I enjoy. And we make a lot of content, these guys. We have our post-game shows available to our patrons, but also we're taking clips from our show, we're putting them on Instagram, we're making YouTube videos. All that takes a lot of time, and to be supported financially from the people enjoying that content makes us feel good. And like I know from contributing to the shows I like, it makes me feel good because I know I'm a part of it. Now, besides all that, there's value to be had in having real relationships with people. Podcasting, you get the parasocial relationship and all that, yada, yada, yada. But when you go on our Discord, you find geographically located channels with folks looking to meet up, to have a good time together, to watch games. I played softball with 2 PHT patrons. I had dinner with another one earlier this week. There is real life shit happening in our Discord, meeting real people. And I'm very grateful for everybody who chooses to support us there. And I'm very grateful for all the folks who engage on Discord and on YouTube and on Instagram. We appreciate you very much.
Okay, long ad. Don't want to hear it? Something this long? By the way, they're completely omitted for patrons. You wouldn't hear these ever again. Patreon.com/Padres Hot Tub. Welcome to the Padres Hot Tub, everybody. Greg Elsten, Chris Reed, Raphie Cantor. Here we are. We're all together. Joining you on Sunday, June 8th, recording this after the Padres finished a nail-biting 4-3 road trip with the most nail-biting possible win of 1-0 game that was a dueling no-hitter into the 5th inning. Wow. Wild. I feel like I just need, if I had a cigarette, I'd light it too. I mean, it was that kind of road trip, fellas.
I guess I'm going to take some mushrooms. Jesus.
It's just a beer. All I have is a beer.
You got to escalate.
Okay, I'll put my heroin away then. All right.
Yeah. Which one of us has been at a comedy class all week? Immediately to the escalation.
Not in polite company, I guess. Okay. Yeah.
Okay. Very, very quick housekeeping, but new video. Chris put up a great video about 5 minutes long, breaking down what's been breaking down for Fernando Tatis Jr. since the 2nd of May. Check it out on our YouTube channel. Just search for Padres Hot Tub on YouTube. While you're there, make sure you click subscribe, click like. If you're watching our show on YouTube, like, subscribe. Please do those nice things. Positive commentary. All of that will help more people find us. But Chris, great job. Watched that earlier this morning.
Thanks, dude. It took a long time. And thankfully, luckily, Fernando Tatis Jr. kept playing bad, so it stayed topical for weeks and weeks and weeks on end.
Right. You're like, hey, if you can just keep this going until I get this edit done.
Yeah, until I can secure an hour and a half to work on the VO.
So good news, Padres fans. Chris got the job done. Now it's okay.
Now we can get going.
Fernando can play well again. Thank goodness. Okay, let's go through this. A 4-3 road trip. And of course, as we continue, we've got some big time discussion topics to get to both on the pitching and the hitting side for our beloved San Diego Padres, who will go into their first Dodgers series of the year. First time playing the Dodgers, June 9th. Has to be all-time record for the latest that they've ever played the Dodgers in a non-COVID season.
Yeah, I mean, considering how the scheduling was always done by like a married couple in Indiana, and then there was only, everybody played only their league forever until it got opened up to interleague play, but then you still didn't play everybody. It has to be.
Has to be. We'll talk all about it. We'll preview that series. We'll be doing almost undoubtedly game-by-game post-games for that series as we continue forward as well. But first, we got to get to this road trip and break it down. A 4-3 record, 7 games, 6 one-run games, and then that whopping 2-0 victory on Friday night for the gigantic 2-0 margin, 2-run margin, 1 2-run game of the entire series. At the end of it, Manny Machado said that was a week of playoff baseball. That was his direct quote in the Union Tribune game recap this afternoon. And certainly in that, the Padres saw basically relentlessly good pitching throughout, not just like random 7 ERA guy that was stymieing them because they're bad. No, they saw everybody, including Willie Peralta today, the ace of the Milwaukee Brewers. Freddie, I did it again.
Add him to the Matt Harrison,
yes.
Edgar Diaz.
What's his name again? Freddie Peralta.
Freddie Peralta.
There's so many damn Peraltas. I got to tell you, there's too many Peraltas. And they're pitching Peraltas too, and I don't like it. Pick a name. Johnny Peralta. Remember him? Shortstop, Cleveland.
Sure do.
Anyways, Peralta's good. The rookie that shut down the Padres the other day, he hasn't allowed more than 3 runs in a start all season. Like the Brewers have good pitching. They're a good team. The Giants have good pitching, very good pitching, and knock down great defense for the most part as well. And the result was, and the Padres can't score for shit. And the result was this week of crazy high wire act baseball. And San Diego comes out of it. If it was a playoff series, they come out of it with a win.
Absolutely.
Series like this are like perfect encapsulations of why I love baseball. Like, it's a sport that feels like chess sometimes, and it's a sport that feels like hungry hippos at others. And this series was definitely more of a chess match, like coming down on defense, base running execution, and personnel. One team had Manny Machado and the other team didn't. Brewers really wanted Rhys Hoskins to be that guy for him, but he hasn't been. And Manny is Manny, will always be Manny. He's setting milestones on his march towards the Hall of Fame. And it's weird that he's the difference in this series, guys, but I really feel like he is, because the Brewers and the Padres matched up a lot in the pitching. And 2 teams that have like attached their identities to how they play the game in a pure way. But Manny just doing it kind of single-handedly.
Yeah, this June schedule obviously seems like a gauntlet, and it's stressful, but it's stressful because it's fun, because we're playing a lot of teams who are potentially going to be stacking up against us as we come down the stretch in September for the season. And certainly San Francisco and Milwaukee fit that bill. I'd be curious for you guys if you agree with this assessment. It feels like in the National League, it's the Cubs, the Mets, and the Dodgers sort of in like one belt. And then there's another belt underneath. You can maybe throw the Phillies in there depending on the week, but they've kind of hit a rough stretch. And the Padres actually have the same amount of wins now as the Phillies after today's game. So The Phillies are kind of the straddle between tier 1 and tier 2, and then firmly in tier 2 we have Padres, Giants, Cardinals, Brewers. I mean, maybe you could throw the Diamondbacks in there, but it seems like they're starting to fade pretty fast. Maybe you could throw the Braves in there if you really believe in them, but the Braves are what is it, 8 under?
Yeah, the Braves and Diamondbacks have to be a tier below right now. They have
Braves
to be
are 10 under. Braves are 10 under right now.
The Reds are closer to all this than these guys.
I'd say the Reds and Brewers are kind of on the tier, and then D-backs and D-backs and Braves are kind of falling out of the race.
Yeah.
I generally agree with that, Rafe. I don't think there's a ton of separation. We saw the Padres and the Cubs play at the point where San Diego's offense was good and their rotation was mostly healthy. But they weren't getting contributions from these kids like they are right now. And the Padres, if I'm right, split that series with the Cubs 3-3. Right. We're about to go see the Dodgers. We haven't seen the Mets. But I think all of the teams at the top, and the Phillies definitely are one of those teams, can be the best team in the league and would be a tough team to face in the playoffs. The National League is really good. Really good.
Really good. And, I think my general assessment on the Padres, before I throw it back to you, Craig, right now, going into this first Dodgers series of the season, is I'm actually pretty bullish on this team because the pitching has been outstanding. I have concerns, and we'll talk about those later, but pitching has been undeniably outstanding. The offense has been undeniably disappointing, but the problems of this team are easy to diagnose. It is not like 2023 where it was taking historical unluckiness and disconnected offense and everything like this. Like, the Padres are going into the middle third of the season. They're firmly in the middle third of the season, actually, and they have 2 giant gaping holes in their lineup. They have a superstar who is massively slumping. They have a number 2 hitter who is inexplicably bunting. And they have one titan of a captain holding it all up like Atlas holding the world on his shoulders. And so for me, in spite of that, the Padres are 4-3 against tough NL competition, and the Padres are 10 games over. And they're going into a Dodgers series a game back from the division lead. So this is a team that has issues, but it's a team that has fixable issues, and that's why I'm a little bit bullish, Craig, on this Padres team.
I think 12 shutouts, lead the major league.
Right.
Extend Ruben Niebla again.
Oh, it's extend. I thought you were going to say Martin Maldonado. You didn't say Martin Maldonado? Extend.
Oh, Martin Maldonado. You mean the other MM. We have 2 MMs, and one of them is on one end of the rope, and the other guy is seemingly fallen down at the other end.
I don't know. Both were equally featured on Padres postgame shows this weekend.
And for one game, we celebrated Martin Maldonado. And from then on, I'm going to point out his sub 400 OPS in his last 25 games.
All right, let me get to this one question from the Giants series. We covered it a lot in our various post games and group therapies. If you're on the free feed, maybe you saw some of the previews of those. Patreon.com/Padres Hot Tub if you want to go check it out. But a disappointing road split in that you won twice in the Kolick-Burgert games, handed the series to Pivetta and Cease, and each of those right-handers was given a lead in their game. Pivetta was given a 5-0 lead that he carried all the way through 5 innings. Cease was given a 2-0 lead and coughed that up after 2 innings, unsurprisingly, because Cease coughs up leads that he's given, a point we'll get to in more detail again later in the show. But that's a series you're supposed to win. You won the 2 unlikely games. You've got the hammer for the last 2, and you take a lead in both, and you wind up with a split. that sucks. That's a bummer. It's one of those things where it's a tie that feels like a loss, kind of like soccer. As opposed to a tie that feels like a win, which is what it should be for the Giants. They should feel like they stole something. But the question that Raphie has asked in our menu that I think is a great one: how do you feel / what do you think in terms of the relative strength and weakness of the San Francisco Giants to the San Diego Padres after now having watched 6 games of the 13-game series?
Chris?
This is a tough one because it was just, 4 years ago where I thought the Giants were complete, frauds. And then they went on to keep their pace up the entire season and win 107 friggin' baseball games. It's a completely different team. They have Buster Posey. They have Bob Melvin now. I mean, it couldn't be more changed within their organization. But, the taste of that season still remains. After getting a good look at him for 4 games, I really feel like the Padres should have had 3 of those games. Willie Adames hasn't gotten going. Matt Chapman's having a really good year. Robbie Ray's having a really good year. Their bullpen is pretty nasty. So, the matchups are pretty comparable, but I think the Padres do have the edge on overall talent. And 2 of our guys are playing completely terribly right now. 2 of our young stars are in the middle of their worst stretches as professionals. So I think once those ships get turned in the right direction a little bit more, the Padres will be able to haul a little bit more freight. And I like how they match up against San Francisco. If we're choosing playoff teams who the Padres get to play against in their first series, out of all the ones we've mentioned, I think I'm choosing the Giants.
Yeah, I think that the Padres. Look, let me just first compliment and say I think that the Giants pitching is pretty fucking great and can stack up against anyone.
Tyler Rogers, man, I love watching him pitch. I'm sorry, guys. It feels dirty because he's a division rival, but man, the lowest release point in baseball, the spin he does, the tunneling that he does, that how he has the slider that comes back to you if you're a right-handed hitter. I mean, sinker that comes back to you, and the slider that just moves 4 feet. That guy's nasty. I enjoy watching him.
Yeah, I think the Giants are Camilo Doval figuring it out away from having arguably the best bullpen in the National League. And that is very important when you're coming down the stretch and going to the playoffs. I think that their bullpen or their rotation, bolstered by Logan Webb and Kyle Harrison and a resurgent Robbie Ray, is going to be formidable down the stretch as well. I think that their offense is incredibly uninspiring. And I am not scared by
Couldn't
them
agree more.
at all whatsoever. And their offense, in my opinion, is operating at capacity. It is operating at, whereas the Padres offense is operating far below capacity because they're dealing with slumps. They're dealing with obvious holes in the lineup they can fix. The Giants are bringing in Dom Smith to take meaningful at bats them. And yes, Dom Smith got us this week and arguably was the reason we lost one of those games. But that is I'm not going to be so harsh as to call it a panic move, but they DFA'd Lamont Wade. They're shaking things up in a way that I don't feel that the Padres ought to or need to do, in the sense that, again, I'm going to be a little bit of a broken record on this show, but we have holes to fix. And so when we fix those holes, when guys who are slumping, who I guarantee you will not be slumping like this for the rest of the season, I will take our offense over them. And I think our pitching doesn't quite stack up to theirs, but our offense far exceeds them when it's operating capacity. So I like our matchup against the Giants.
Yeah. I was going to say the same thing, essentially distilled as, when we're playing the way we're playing now, we're dead even with the Giants. But as soon as we play the way we can, we're head and shoulders above. And I do believe that. On to Milwaukee. Brewers are a scrappy little club. I'd say quite similarly, they have an offense that doesn't super inspire me. You're counting on William Contreras, what's left of Christian Yelich, Rhys Hoskins, and the young slappy guys, Terang and Frelick and so on. And I don't know, they just don't scare me a ton. When Frelick's sitting fifth on your team, I don't feel like you've got like a dangerous hitter batting fifth. I feel like he's a guy you can kind of knock the bat out of his hand sometimes. So with that, they've got some really surprising contributors to their starting rotation. They have found the formulas that they need with some no-name dudes in their bullpen. They have the McGill. I'll definitely get that name. Is he Trevor Taylor, I think.
Yeah.
But who's just some big ass horse. He reminds me of Kyle Farnsworth. Like, he's just huge.
Yeah.
And he throws hard, and he's maybe not.
He's got
good.
a lower half.
Yeah, but he's just so big that probably I could imagine just being a hitter looking at that going, oh God.
Yeah.
He threw one up and into Bogarts last night that Xander has to have had a nightmare about it.
Yeah, man.
Last night, 100 right at the temple. And he
I didn't notice him sweating as he stepped into the box, but after that pitch, it was pouring off of him.
If he was John Kruk, he would have turned around and batted left-handed the rest of the Never mind. I'm out of here. But the biggest thing I feel like I want to talk about and take away from the road trip, and especially on the positive side, is Stephen Kolek and Ryan Berger.
Fuck yeah.
Say Randy Vasquez too, you coward, but yeah, go on.
No. Stephen Kolek and Ryan Berger. Randy Vasquez also on this team.
Erasure, shutout master.
Didn't get through the fifth.
Won his game.
No, he did not get the win.
He won.
They
won. Team won.
He didn't get
Team
the
won.
Win. Anyways,
Team won.
These two guys weren't counted on to be a part of the rotation. Randy Vasquez was.
True.
Okay. He was counted on to be a slummy back of the rotation starter. He was supposed to be our fifth starter. All right. Yeah. All the excuses we make for Randy Vasquez and his double-digit walk rate is, well, he's a back of the rotation starter. I mean, he kind of leaves the guys on. It's Randy Vasquez. He's okay. We've got our theoretical depth chart 8th and 9th starters in the rotation now, because Hart was supposed to be ahead and Waldron was supposed to be ahead of Kolek and Berger. And instead, Hart sucks. The Padres had to unplug him because he is not a major league starter. Waldron is pitching at AAA. They have not brought him back up. You can point at his numbers at AAA. I will remind you, he's a knuckleballer pitching at 7,000 feet or whatever. So I don't care what his numbers are in El Paso other than walks.
Well, I mean,
he
hasn't given up many home runs.
And he's I looked it up. He's 3 walks, 13 strikeouts, or 3 walks, 11 strikeouts. He's fine on the numbers I care about. So, but he's not being used. But Kolek and Berger are. And let's start with Stephen Kolek.
Yeah, because he was in the running at the end of spring training. Stephen Kolek came damn close to winning a spot in the rotation.
You know why? Because Stephen Kolek is a number 3 starter in the big leagues. I think he is. I look at, I'm not saying he's a finished product. I'm not saying it's so funny because both of you have an intermittent freeze on my thing and you both froze back into a, I don't know, face at the same time.
I agree with you.
It was really, really funny. I loved it. But if you could have been where I was to see it. I know he's not a number 3 starter now. Yet. But his stuff, his arsenal, he's already rolled 10 double play grounders. When did this guy join the rotation? Mid-May? He's rolled 10 double play grounders already.
Yeah.
He's big. He's not a little guy. He's a big guy. He's got good stuff. And I tell you what, he attacks the zone. He pitches through traffic very effectively to me. He's tough on right-handers with his arsenal. I like what I see from Stephen Kolek. I'm comfortable pitching Stephen Kolek. When I hear he's on the mound, I'm like, all right, I feel pretty good about things. So just starting with him, guys, like confidence-o-meter. Stephen Kolek going forward, contributing to this team as the gauntlet continues.
I'm going to put my confidence-o-meter at can you define what 1 and 10 are for the sake of this exercise so I know where I'm?
Ooh,
like
great
confidence-o-meter that he's going to be is 10 that he's going to remain a 3 starter, or is 10 like he's going to be the ace?
No, 10 is that he's going to absolutely be at the level of a mid-rotation starter, however you want to define
like no questions, he is the guy. Like you're
he performs
he beats out
at that
Randy,
level.
Beats out everybody.
Yeah, that at the end of the year, you look back and you go, you know what? After the guys that we pay the big money, Kolek actually wound up being as good as any of those other guys.
Okay, I'm going to be at an 8 then for that assessment. And let me tell you why. Something we often don't talk about with Stephen Kolek is that, do you guys know who drafted Stephen Kolek?
The Dodgers.
The Dodgers drafted Stephen Kolek in 2018 in the 11th round out of Texas A&M. And this was a prolific time in the Dodgers drafting, front office culture where they were really, really heavy on college bats and college arms and basically trying to fast track them through their system. The Dodgers end up trading him to Seattle. Seattle ends up, making him available in the Rule 5 draft, which is how he ends up on the Padres. But there was certainly a physical basis. He's 6'3", he's 210 pounds, like you're saying, Craig. And also there's a pedigree basis. He was playing SEC baseball, and the Dodgers saw something in him where they were going to take a flyer on him, right? Now, he doesn't have, for instance, the chase rate and the whiff rate that we would want to see in, someone who's going to be a mainstay in the Padres rotation. But 2 things stick out to me. You mentioned that he's rolled 10 double plays already. He's 93rd percentile in ground ball percentage right now in Major League Baseball, 56.8% ground ball percentage. And this, I think, is certainly correlated to that. He's 91st percentile in terms of barrel percentage allowed. Only 4% of batted balls against Stephen Kolek are barrels. And part of that, I think, and this is, again, all credit to the guy, Ruben Niebla, he has a bona fide approach based off of which side of the plate he's pitching on. He has 6 distinct pitches: 4-seamer, sinker, slider, cutter, changeup, sweeper. And depending on, who he's facing, if he's facing a lefty, he's going to pound the 4-seamer. He's going to pound the changeup, which he basically exclusively throws to lefties. And then if he's facing a righty, he's going to throw sinker, he's going to throw cutter, and he's going to throw his slider. And so seeing that he has a full arsenal, this is a guy that is able to go deep in games. He's not, frankly, Dylan Cease, who's relying on 2 pitches almost exclusively, and Ryan Bergert, who we're going to talk about, who did quite a good job today. But as was mentioned by Eric Lonkenhagen earlier in the week in the prospect report, Ryan Bergert doesn't really have a third pitch. He's got a fastball and he's got a sweeper slider. He technically has a changeup. He only threw it 5 times today. But if he's able to develop that changeup, then he will be in this conversation with Stephen Kolek. But Stephen Kolek basically has a 3-pitch mix, depending on whichever side of the plate he's facing, which is going to limit that third time through penalty. So in terms of my confidence in your question, Craig, of like, is he going to hang around as like a mid-rotation piece? Yeah, I think he will.
It was on one of the post-game shows where I was trying to remember what Padres pitcher of the 90s and early aughts that Stephen Kolek reminded me of, and I missaid it. I said it was Woody Williams, but it isn't. It's Andy Ashby, because Stephen Kolek's sinker is nasty, and it initiates a lot of contact right into the ground. And in today's day and age, where starters are going shorter and shorter and shorter, it's going to be more important than ever that have starters that generate soft contact and play the game the way it kind of used to be done a little bit. And you pointed out, Craig, that Stephen Kolek is a changeup away from having the same pitch mix as you didn't point this out, but you said you really wanted to see the changeup, and that would basically give him the same pitch mix as Ashby with a couple ticks more on the fastball. And I think that'll really play. It's going to be a broken record thing, but the Padres chose not to give him a starting rotation spot out of spring training. They sent him down to AAA to regiment his process, and it's really paid off. The dude looks mature. He doesn't look shooketh in any situation. He has all the appearances of a guy that you trust, and he's still finding his way through the league. This is his second year as a pro. I'm going to give him a solid 7. Like I think that he's not going to go back down. Like I feel like he's going to be in the Padres rotation the rest of the year. Because injuries are going to keep happening and baseball is going to keep happening. But dude is money. Dude is found money.
Well, seeing as I asked the question, I can't go any lower than the highest response, so I will also put an 8. Seeing as I'm the one who created the premise. Sure, there's a chance that it falls apart for Stephen Kolek. It could fall apart for anyone, but Stephen Kolek has already thrown 42 innings for this team, over 7 starts. Boy, I just looked at Stephen Kolek and Michael King, and I was about to put Stephen King in the rotation. How far can Craig go in missaying people's names in one show? Let's find out. Michael King has only 10 starts for the Padres this year. They each have 1 complete game shutout along the way. Kolek has pitched only 13 2/3 fewer innings than King this year. And in all likelihood, he'll have pitched more innings than King by the time Michael King returns to the San Diego Padres rotation. So he's becoming an integral part of this team, and it continues to show the hit rate for Preller and his staff that they identified somebody in a playoff drive year like 2024 and said Stephen Kolek needs to be on this roster because this is somebody that Seattle has missed on. They don't realize what they've got. They've got an underutilized resource, and we need to take it. And now it is a huge minimum salary. Mid-rotation starter, minimum salary. Get Waldron right. The Padres have affordability in their rotation, in their 40-man rotation, in addition to a little bit of depth. Now, that brings you to Burgert. Longenhagen saying he's a changeup from being a 50 FV. He only threw, what'd you say, 5 or 6 today? For reasons detailed in banter, I listened to this entire game. Possible that Jesse misallocated, but I heard Burgert throw a changeup in a critical runners in scoring position situation to get a swing and miss on Jake Bowers during the game. Like, he used it. Maybe he's learning. But Ryan Burgert on this road trip, both times pitches into the 6th inning, both times super representative, and today literally no-hit ball through 4 innings of work. Like, holy crap. Who could have said that Ryan Burgert would be able to give the Padres good stuff, even a couple of times through? If this is some more found money for this organization, I don't think I'm being hyperbolic in saying it could be the difference for the Padres making the playoffs or not making the playoffs in a hyper-competitive West, that you've got Vasquez, Kolek, and Burgert all pitching at a good major league level for a team that absolutely has to have that performance because, as we're going to talk about later, the bullpen is already under massive stress.
With Burgert, I just got to say, like, y'all worry about Randy every time he's out. Ryan Burgert's going to get rocked one of these games. Like, he's going to get absolutely shelled. Right now, he's rocking a 95.6 left on base rate, and that's only in 2 starts. It isn't a huge sample by any means, but batting average on balls to play is 179. K through 9 is 5. Walks through 9 is almost 4. Those are really Randy Vasquez-esque numbers. And sure, he's getting the soft contact just like Randy, but I feel like that's going to turn. Like, if I don't know if you want to do a concern meter on Burger, but mine's a little bit higher. Like, it's great. I think his success story is more of one for the organization, getting the velo up on him Because last year he was expected to be a lot better and be knocking at the door of being one of these 6, 7, 8 starter guys, and he came nowhere close. He added some velo, and he's come in and been able to be incredibly helpful. But so I feel like his success story so far is one for the organization, and I'm still kind of waiting for the bomb to hit the powder room, so to speak.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nonetheless, we've gotten what we've gotten so far. So if Burgert goes boom, I'll tell you what, I will trust Ryan Burgert over Kyle Hart every single day and twice on
For
Sunday.
sure.
100%. No argument here.
Not even close. So yes, this team needs Yu Darvish. This team needs Michael King. The whole new, it might be the All-Star break now. That's another 5 weeks, right? So that's another 6 starts.
Sleeping is dangerous, everybody. You watch your ass.
Lying is also dangerous. It's bad. Lying down, lying to people, all kinds of lying, dangerous. So don't lie. I'd love to see Yu Darvish get back. I'd love to see Michael King get back. If they're back in the second half, that's amazing. If the Padres can make it through June alive without either one of them, it's because Kolek and Burgert and Vasquez did well enough. You would have thought it was because Dylan Cease led the staff, but I mean, I think the train has probably left the station on that one.
I think it gives the team a lot of flexibility at the trade deadline. They don't have to hunt for a Martin Perez. They don't have to hunt for a Jake Arrieta or anything like that. I know they just signed Jake, but the depth is good.
All right, let's turn to the other thing that's going on with this team. The Padres offense obviously is in a sunken place right now. And when you really break it down, it's as easy to understand as it possibly could be. Manny Machado is killing it, okay? Machado is killing it, and this is one of those stretches that you've seen written and talked about where Manny Machado carries his team for weeks on end. These are those weeks. He has carried the team through these weeks. He literally hit a 2-out game-tying hit in the 9th inning to get a win in San Francisco. His homer was the difference in today's game. Give him a full WAR, as Chris would say. He hit the homer, otherwise they don't win. Someone needed to score a point. Machado put it on the board. His homer on Friday allowed a 1-0 game to become 2-0 and to give the Padres at least a nick of breathing room. He's gone from 3 homers to 10 in the span of 15 games. And I remember a couple 3 weeks ago on this show, and here's one where I'll be like, I said I had no worries, and I brought up his month-by-month homers and how usually when he gets to June, he starts hitting 6-7 homers a month the rest of the season, and that's where we are with Manny Machado. So Manny Machado is doing great. Gavin Sheets is doing the best he can do. Xander Bogaerts, the remains of Xander Bogaerts, what's left of him, can draw a walk, can get a long at bat, can flare a single, occasionally can hit a loud fly ball that'll make it all the way to halfway to the warning track, before it's inevitably caught. But he'll flip a double down the line every once in a while. I'm almost afraid to say I think he might be doing the best he can too. Jake Cronenworth, I think, is doing about the best he can. He pretty much hits 240, gets on, gives you a really tough at bat. He'll have some hotter streaks, colder streaks. But Tatis, all-time career worst slump. Arise, just malfunctioning. Bad robot. Malfunctioning robot.
Dude,
change the program.
The bunting update. The bunting is I've never seen more of a metaphor in real life of structurally what's wrong with the Padres, where the number 2 hitter who that is supposed to be your best hitter on the team, no matter what. Arguably you could say leadoff or two, but one of those two guys, leadoff guys in a career worst slump, and our number 2 hitter is bunting like once a game. Like it's not like it's not like a blip thing. This is like something he does consistently. Unacceptable.
Yeah. And we hear this in the comments for all of our videos because we've talked about Arise on Instagram. We talked about them on YouTube. And folks, like I know a lot of you aren't complete dorks about baseball. I'm not a complete dork about baseball. I love a good bunt. I love a good T. Wade bunt down at the bottom half of the order, putting pressure on the defense. I loved it when Jake Cronenworth did it the other day because the third baseman was standing at shortstop. Play the game as it comes to you. But having exactly what Raphie just said, your leadoff man get on, and your number 2 hitter, if you look at any analytical data of the past 20 years, we know giving away outs leads to fewer run scores. The Padres are a lineup that does not have the big inning built into them right now. It just isn't there. So if you're having your number 2 hitter give away an out, look at the expected run matrices. It kills the big inning. You can't do it. And it's going to cost them games if the pattern continues at this historic pace for Luis Arraez.
But there's more. But wait, there's more.
But wait, yeah.
On the road trip, let's just say this. On the road trip, Jackson Merrill, 5 for 30, 167 average, 200 slugging percentage, no walks, 12 Ks. And he earned every ounce of it. It wasn't like he was getting robbed on line drives and cannons to the wall, or catches in the gap. Jackson Merrill right now is looking like Doomer's wet dream when they were looking at Fort Wayne stats. You know who you are. You remember your posts. Hope you enjoyed that chicken dinner. Here's a kid who hits 255 with no walks and no power. He's going to be useless. Well, he's been useless other than his defense for the last week. So you got Tatis hitting 1, career worst slump. Arraez hitting 2, broken toy, malfunctioning robot. Machado, red hot,
Atlas.
searing. Right? What's that?
Atlas.
Yes, right. Carrying the whole team. 3, Merrill, completely unplugged. At 4, here's your hot guy, cold everywhere around him. 1 hot guy, cold everywhere around him. Sheets is okay. Bogarts is doing the best he can. Cronenworth is doing the best he can. And then you get to 8 and 9, and those are the gaping holes. Tyler Wade, who came into today's game 3 for 27, and the catching position, which can't hit. Martin Maldonado is the only player in baseball who I am completely okay bunting a runner from first to second with nobody out or 1 out.
Yeah,
because he is a pitcher hitting. That's what Martin Maldonado is. It's the same chance as if we had up Randy Vasquez or Steven Kolick. I would literally think they had the same chance of getting a big hit with runners on as Martin Maldonado, which is zero chance. So go ahead, move the runner, avoid the obvious double play or strikeout. I'm fine with that. In fact, we would have won the game the other day, or at least tied it the other day, if Maldonado had just gotten the fucking bunt down, and he didn't get the bunt down.
No.
And then he would have scored. The runner would have scored on Tatis's bat flip non-home run. That would have been a sacrifice fly. So think about it. Again, it's a circle, right? A lineup isn't a line, it's a circle.
Context to Craig's feelings real quick. Past 25 games, Martin Maldonado, 133 batting average. That's a pitcher. 175 on base percentage. That's a pitcher. 217 slug. His OPS is below 400.
Yes. Look up the career pitchers OPS. It was around that. Okay. It was around that. So 8 dead. 9, dead. Flip it up. 1, dead. 2, dead. 3, all-time hot. 4, dead. 5 through 7, doing the best they can. That's the Padres lineup right now. How could it possibly score 5 runs in a game? Think about it. Do the exercise. How could they score 5 runs? 1 out, 2 outs. Okay, Machado's going to get on. Now we need Merrill to find his 1 hit out of 6 to connect it to Sheets or Bogarts, Cronenworth, who we need to get hits. Or we need all 3 of those guys to get hits in a row because the next 5 spots aren't going to do it for you. Arise will get a hit every once in a while. Arise got the huge game-tying hit, in Milwaukee. He's still a hitter, but he's so broken that he won't even start to try the at-bat until it's 0-2. And then he'll only swing at pitches outside the zone. Every pitcher, I think, in the league now knows the way to get Luis Arise out is just throw the pitch in the zone. He's going to hit a ground ball to short, or a ground ball to second, or a fly ball to center field. That's what he's going to do. It's the pitch a foot outside that he gets to line to left field for a double. It's ridiculous. So right now, as constructed, as built, it's impossible for the Padres to score 5 runs unless they get the most specific chain that's kind of equivalent to you flopping a flush in poker.
100%.
Like, oh, I flopped a flush. Holy shit. But it don't happen very often, and that's where the Padres are.
Well, and that comes with the territory of no slug. Padres are at 56 home runs on the year as a team, which I believe puts them at 26th or 27th in the league. And there were multiple wins that we had this week where the Padres only hit singles. One of them in San Francisco was 10 hits, all singles. And I want to say, I can't remember which other. There was another game where they had like 7 singles or something like that. So it must have been in San Francisco. You just like you said, Craig. Like you have to flop a flush. Essentially, you have to just have this insane sort of like I'm thinking D&D where you have to have like nat 20s twice in a row. It feels like just to score. Essentially, so that. Forget about like 2023 where there was like runners in scoring position luck and like bad sequencing. Then like there were like legitimately good offensive players that just had insanely bad timing. You also then added like not good players to that lineup and you have the same issue. It makes it really tough.
The Padres need to pull a Posey here, man. They need to do something semi-drastic with a couple of these spots. There's no pinch hitting, I want to point out as well. The last... maybe it's on the season. Let me just do it. Yeah, it's on the season. They're hitting 150, getting on base at 239, slugging 200. That's good for a .439 OPS in 67 plate appearances. They struck out 20 times. That's pinch hitting. They've hit 1 home run. And guys, Luis Campusano's on the team. Luis Campusano is on the team. He can pinch hit for Martin Maldonado. And if you're terrified of him catching, Elias Diaz can do it. Like that play exists. It's there. What are they doing with Luis Campusano? Luis, are you okay? Are you being held in a secure location? Are there windows?
Tell me, okay, the classic meme, James Franco. I'm going to get my Franco wrong. It's not Wanda.
Oh yeah, with the hanging, with the noose.
With the noose. Up
first time?
First time, huh? That's fucking Matt Carpenter looking at Campy. Right? Like,
yes.
Matt Carpenter has slid into Campy's DMs at some point in the last week. Like, bro, I know. I get it. Because Preller's like, Campy's going to be on this team, Mike. Campy's the best right-handed hitting option we have in this team, Mike. And Mike's like, that's cool, cuz you can put him on my roster. I'll happily have him on my roster. We need somebody to load up the bus. We need somebody to unpack the plane. We need somebody to help go get the balls and shag them
These are all Tyler Wade's jobs.
Yeah,
you're listing all of Tyler Wade's jobs.
Bro, I'm gonna go do another photo shoot. We got Campy here, but the one thing I ain't gonna do, because Campy is never gonna be behind the plate, and he's never gonna hit again. Now, you made me bad in those 3 games. How many hits did he get, AJ? Well, he got 4 walks and 10 plate appearances. Yeah, no, I think he really actually had a good eye at the plate. Because how many hits did he get? None. How many hits does he have? None. And how many hits is he going to have at the end of the year? Well, I mean, if you gave him a chance, let him start even one time, Mike. I mean, maybe he'll have none, because that's what he is. He's a big 0, because there's some guys that get it and some guys that don't. Campy don't.
Luis Campusano caught a no-hitter.
Yeah, took one to the face in the 9th. Remember that?
Yep.
He went so hard into the netting to try and get the ball, and the ball hit him in the face. He was bleeding at the end of that no-hitter. I would have been out for 2 weeks with what he did in the 9th in that game.
Free Campy.
Campusano should have been in today's lineup, period, exclamation point, highlighter. He should have been in today's lineup. It's inexcusable. Honestly, it's inexcusable on a Sunday for him not to be in the lineup. But he was not in the lineup.
The Lord's Day.
On the Lord's Day. You think I'm going to play him on the Lord's Day?
That's Uncle Baby Billy coming out right there.
Yeah. I might get him on a Tuesday now, y'all. He might get to play on a Tuesday, not this Tuesday.
My show's you want Campy in the lineup?
Because
I need $2 million and an 8-ball of Coke.
All right,
Campy.
Producer Raphie.
It's inexcusable what's going on.
I'm putting producer hat on, and I'm saying we got a lot to get to, and we're at the 53-minute mark.
We do. We got to keep moving. We got to keep moving.
So, why don't we talk about Dylan Cease?
Okay. All right.
You wanted to put him on the menu.
No. I just want to say this and then I'm going to literally be done. These are the last 28 days. So this is a month of baseball. Jackson Merrill's on base percentage is .263, close window. Luis Ariza's on base percentage is .284, close window. Fernando Tatis's on base percentage is .245, close window. You'll never score.
Do better.
No one would ever score.
Do better hitters.
Can't wait for that lineup to turn over, guys. I'm really glad Brandon Lockridge got on base for the top of the order.
I mean, literally twice Martin Maldonado got a hit to put a runner to third, and you knew that Tatis was going to blow it. So the one thing I didn't say that I said on Blue Sky and that I made Chris say on a post game that I didn't say, that I haven't said, that I do have to say before we move to Dylan Cease is this. Fernando Tatis Jr. should no longer be hitting leadoff for this team. Not right now. And I know they're not going to do it, but listen to all the dysfunction on this. Right now, either Cronenworth or Bogarts, who will each put up an on-base percentage of at least .333 or above, should hit leadoff, and Tatis should just flip-flop and take their space in the lineup. And I know it won't happen. I know it won't. But it should if you were trying to score runs. Because I hope what the last 20 minutes of this show has illustrated, if nothing else, is that the way it's built right now, it can't work until these pieces plug back in. So we're just throwing hope out there every time we let FTJ continue to lead off for this team. The way he's hitting, he should not be hitting leadoff. I'm done. Okay. You said something on the post game that I wasn't on, Chris, that I wish I could have been on for.
Was it when I called you an ignorant slut for trying to pull the Tatis out of the leadoff spot?
No, you did. No, that was fine. That was actually really,
okay.
I like that.
All right.
No, it was about Cease. It was after Cease's game. I couldn't be on that day. Dylan Cease has, so this is for the free feed and for everybody. Dylan Cease has started 13 games for the San Diego Padres. In 9 of those games, Dylan Cease has been given a lead. Okay? In 4 of those games, 2 of which he pitched very well, he was never given a lead. A couple others he didn't pitch that great, and he was never given a lead. But in 9 of his 13 starts, Dylan Cease, upcoming number 1 free agent on the market, was given a lead. And in 6 of those 9 occasions, he blew the lead. He gave the lead up. It's something that I felt, but Chris, you did the numbers and you found, you went through the game logs, you did the research, and you got the hard number. And this is why it's not dominant Dylan, it's disappointing Dylan for 2025. Dylan Cease has pitched like a souped-up Brett Tomko, who just surrenders the lead every single time that he's given the lead, but otherwise pitches okay. Doesn't get through the 6th. I looked it up because AC put his entire game log in one of his recent Padres reports. There's literally one game all year that Dylan Cease pitched well in a win. 1 out of 13 that he pitched well and they won. There's been some games that he pitched well and they lost. There's been a ton of games that he pitched mid and they won or lost. There's been a couple games he pitched terrible and they lost. But that he pitched well and won, it's 1. And it just, he's going to start against the Dodgers twice. And I feel like the Dodgers are just like, bring it on, bro. You're the easiest one to solve. The other guys will have to figure out.
So this is how opposing hitters have faced with Dylan Cease when he's been ahead and when he's been behind. When he's been ahead, they have had 78 at-bats, 93 plate appearances. They have an OPS of almost 900, 0.898. The split OPS plus, which is kind of the way of measuring this split versus league average 100, is 160 when he is ahead. When he is behind, split OPS is 75 because he's holding them to a 250-point lower OPS, a 140-point lower slug, and a 120-point lower on-base percentage.
So he's what? Is he underperforming? Raphie, I know you've got I know. Is he just set for a run of positive regression? Is he going to be the best player in the Dodgers series in 2 starts, and he's going to throw 14 shutout innings with 24 strikeouts? Or is he this guy when the pressure's on, year after his Cy Young, this year is career get paid year, a 5 pitcher, 4.8 ERA pitcher?
Look, there's the Scully and there's the Mulder within me. Okay, I've been watching a lot of X-Files lately, so I'm just putting that out there. All right, the Scully, the special agent Dana Scully within me
doesn't believe.
Well, no, let me tell you what Scully thinks.
All right.
Scully looks at the data, and the data says that if Dylan Cease keeps pitching like this, he's going to be just fine. Dylan Cease has a 320 FIP. He's striking out guys at 11.14 K per 9 clip. He's only walking guys at 3.15 walks per 9, which is uninspiring in terms of like Major League Baseball. That's about league average. But for Dylan Cease, who is basically right-handed Blake Snell, that is a market improvement on his career numbers. And his home runs per 9, 1.05, not amazing, but not horrible. 1 homer per 9 innings, like that's really not that bad. Like this is a guy whose walk and home run metrics are league average and his strikeout metrics are fantastic. So on the one hand, I'd say, hey, like those underlying peripherals, great. Here's another thing. He's the anti-Strandy Vasquez, okay? His 66.4 left on base percentage this season is the lowest on the team for starting pitchers, and it's the second lowest on the team only to Adrian Morejon, who has a 56.9% left on base percentage, which we've not talked about, but that's crazy.
Wow.
Like, that
Make
is
sure you give him
crazy,
a
and
clean
is
inning.
certainly
For a leverage reliever?
Yeah, certainly is inflating his ERA and yada yada yada. Like there's a better pitcher inside Adrian Morejon than what we've seen so far. That is not a sticky stat. That's 66.4 left on base. Much in the same way that Randy Vasquez's 81% left on base percentage probably not going to hold if I were just to wager. So that's like Agent Scully is like, Dylan, like, keep doing what you're doing and you will be okay. Maybe you won't get your $200 million payout, but you're going to be just fine. And there's Fox Mulder, who was sitting in the 300s with Craig and Chris, and Craig was playing Waffle on his phone. Yes, game 4. And we're talking about trade scenarios because this dude doesn't fucking have it. Okay? So
he just doesn't have it.
Inside me, there are 2 warriors, okay? And they're doing battle with each other. And what I will say is, again, Dylan Cease still has some of the best stuff in baseball, probably top 10 stuff in baseball for starting pitchers, just purely like just unbelievable fastball, unbelievable slider, refuses to throw other pitches, but whatever. It's fine when you have stuff that good. But when his name's coming up on the rotation, I'm not excited. That's so. I wish I could give you a more definitive take. There's nuance.
Guess whose name is coming up in the rotation?
Yeah,
that's a great
exactly
transition,
right.
Chris.
The Dodgers are in town. Let's go ahead and get to it. I mean, obviously, Dylan Cease is going to be on this team. I just want to say that because you talked about it.
Doesn't have to be, Craig. He doesn't have to be.
It obviously has to be. That was one of the rare shows that I turned on. I'm like, God damn it! Can I go back in time and be able to just jump on this show? Like, you can't trade Dylan Cease for an outfielder right now.
It just requires paperwork filed with the league.
Yeah, you're putting Kyle Hart in the rotation. We're done.
We're
done. We're dead. We're going to make a 3-corner deal. It's part of something bigger. I don't know. Maybe. No. The time to deal Dylan Cease was this winter when you would have got a shit ton for him.
So much for him. Oh.
And I am very confident that whatever option AJ Preller settled on as a result of that transaction would be pitching better than 0.1 B-WAR on June 8th. Okay, 0.1. He's been a nuttin' for this team. He's been a nuttin' honey. That's what he's been for this team so far this year. But okay, you can't trade him now. We're fucked now. You got to roll with him now. Unless Darvish is going to suddenly just rise like the phoenix from the ashes and start pitching complete game shutouts and just be Doc Gooden reincarnate.
Give me Patrick Corbin. Give me Patrick Corbin.
Do not give me Patrick Corbin.
I wish this was like around the horn and I could just hit a mute button and then Chris would freeze and amber for 10 seconds.
Downvote. Right? Like, yeah.
Jose Quintana.
Give me Jose Quintana with his 91-mile-an-hour fastball. But I would take it overseas sometimes because I think that Quintana's locked into the game. I did on the Discord this week the butterfly meme. The guy looking at the butterfly and going, "Is this a?" And I said, "Is this a lead I'm supposed to protect?" Like,
that's a good one.
That's Dylan Cease. He's just like, what? Oh, but hang on. Is there a new album out that I need to be checking out right now? Oh, 2 Outs Bases Loaded. Shohei's up, but hold on. Innova's come up with a brand new putter and it's going to revolutionize disc golf the way we know it.
Disc golfers.
Let me think about. Hang on. Did I turn off the oven? Wait, did I harvest the honey from my bee farm? Did I? Oh, wait, you want me to throw a slider?
Let's not get personal to bee farmers. They're doing good work. They're doing important work.
Most interesting dude in baseball. Do I trust him to pitch a game? No. And he's finished out the Blake Snell fucking comparison by having a shit first half. so that he can have a great second half and then go get paid.
All right.
Moving
Yep.
on.
Like, that's just logic. I have said he's right-handed Blake Snell. If that is true, then the second half is going to be worth more than whatever you would get from friggin', not Michael Elias, because he wouldn't want him, but
Yeah.
Brian
Beginning
Cashman.
the Dodger preview. First off, LFGST. Okay. Second off, my beloved father, down for James's 8th grade graduation on Friday, said to me, I'll tell you, I think the Padres are going to take 5 out of 7 the next 2 weeks, which both tells me that the Dodgers broadcast has been talking a lot about the 2 Padres series, because otherwise it wouldn't be front of mind. But also, LA's, knocking wood, whatever, LA's not playing well. LA's not really playing well. Everyone's hurt on the pitching staff. Mookie's just aight.
Shohei is day-to-day after getting a ball to somewhere.
I think
They're counting on Andy Pages.
Yeah.
And he's doing pretty good. But they're counting on Andy Pages.
Why don't we just read out the probable starters as an example of all of this, which is
Very
Monday.
good.
It is going to be Nick Pivetta versus Dustin May. Tuesday is going to be Dylan Cease versus the listed starter on roster resource is Jose Urena, who is now on his 3rd MLB team. He started the season on the Mets. He went to the Blue Jays where he did face the Padres, and then now is on the Dodgers. And I'm assuming that is just a tag for a bullpen day. And on Wednesday, it's going to be Randy Vasquez going up against Justin Robleski.
Great job.
Robleski. Who
I'm not saying that's right. I'm just saying that's what I would have said.
He is a Dodgers rookie, 15 innings pitched so far in the season, rocking a 7.20 ERA. He's like a 40 future value prospect. Longenhagen has him as like a back end rotation / long reliever type. Imagine you're Brian Hoeing. He's Brian Hoeing. Okay. So that's where the Dodgers are at right now. Here's the Dodgers pitchers that are on the injured list. Blake Snell, Tyler Glasnow, Roki Sasaki, Tony Gonsolin, Gavin Stone, Emmett Sheehan, River Ryan, and of course Shohei Ohtani isn't pitching yet either.
Shohei Ohtani's arm is still on the injured list. His body, the rest of his body is not.
Yeah,
exactly.
Major League Baseball allowed that.
They're making trades for Alexis Diaz from Cincinnati. Dave Roberts gave a press conference today where he said, good news, Tony Gonsolin's UCL is intact, which is like,
well, hey,
it exists, everybody.
The starting
it is
position.
There.
I wanted to tag this because, the bullpen's getting taxed. We can table that for another time. We'll talk about it just because the show's already going at the length it is, but we've seen it. The Jason Adam, some of our bullpen arms, they're feeling like they're a little tired. Maybe some Phantom Elstens are needed. Blah blah blah. The Dodgers actually have fewer quality starts than the Padres. They've only had pitchers go 6 or more innings 19 times. It's the 4th fewest in baseball. And going into today's game against the Cardinals, in which the Dodgers did win 7-3, but prior to that, they were on a 1-for-26 stretch with runners in scoring position. Sounds a lot like the Padres, to be completely honest.
Yeah.
So it does.
If you're worried about...
Go ahead.
Yeah, go ahead.
Sorry.
No.
I just wanted to note, in saying that, LA, and they've played 2 more games, the Japan series. They've played 2 more games than San Diego. They've scored 108 more runs than the Padres. 108. So whatever the problems they've had with runners in scoring position recently or whatnot, I mean, LA is bringing so much more offense to the table than the Padres are.
Craig, you don't need to hit with runners in scoring position if you hit fucking home runs.
Right.
Fair.
They score from first base.
Yeah.
That's it, pretty much. And you've got Shohei, and you've got the power. You've got Teoscar. Max Muncy is hitting again. He wasn't. Now he is. Will Smith has been dynamite. He'll be in the All-Star game again. He's a first half superstar pretty much every year, Will Smith. Dirty thing, second half, he's not that good, or he hasn't been in his career. But first half, he's a killer. They're the Dodgers. As I get in this reflexive thing. Dad goes, "Oh, I think the Padres will win 5-7." I go, "Dad, your team spends twice as much as any other team in baseball. Payroll's over $500 million when you factor in all the taxes. Like, it's an unfair fight. It always will be. Structurally, it will be. But the way you play the day you play, these 3-game series, the Padres come in a game behind. They throw Pivetta in game 1. They throw Dilettante Dylan in game 2. And they throw Strandy, who I would put in the bottom quartile of all starting pitchers in Major League Baseball, in game 3.
Wow. Such vindictiveness. So petty.
Petty? Guess who leads the majors in walks? It's Randy Vasquez.
Guess who leads my heart in devotion?
Your wife? Your son, Seeger, who loves you?
Yeah. But Randy, he's in the red. He's in the red.
He's got me in the red. The RPMs. I need to bring it down. He's got me revved up. I don't know, guys. It's the Padres and the Dodgers. San Diego is playing game 65, and it's game 1 against LA. And whatever happens the next 3 days, there's going to be fistfights in the stands. There's going to be fistfights on the street, and everyone's going to overreact to whatever happens one way or the other. So I'm going to be honest. I'm both looking forward to and really, really not looking forward to the next 3 days. And it's just because I know everything that's involved. And I know that as soon as the Dodgers throw 6 shutout innings on Monday, it'll be, that's 30 in a row from some screaming voices in our Discord, and like, the past is not, the present is not the future. It's a new day. The Dodgers are playing pretty fucking mid right now, and so are the Padres. The Padres can't score on 1,000 Sundays, but if they show up and rip Dustin May for 7 runs in 3 innings tomorrow,
that's the thing.
Would anyone be surprised if Tatis got hits in his first 3 at-bats against the Dodgers?
It's Tatis against the Dodgers, man. If you want to take some copium, that's your source right there. Tatis against the Dodgers.
Yeah. In some ways, this series perhaps could not be coming at a better time for the Padres. Like, the Dodgers are wounded. Our offense is middling, and they need a spark. Like, they just, guys who are in slumps need to be busted out of slumps. And what is going to shake them out of it than a series against the Dodgers? If not this, frankly, nothing, Yeah. Then it's just hold on and pray.
I'll be watching. I'll be selling my tickets, but I'll be watching. Wow. Sorry, not sorry about it.
Saying it on mic.
Seen it up. I'm not a liar. I'm not gonna, I'm telling you the truth. And I hope Padre fans buy him. But I be selling.
Hey, full pension Piv, as they say on Talking Baseball. He gets game 1. Started off right.
Absolutely. And if you're given a 5-0 lead, Padres bullpen is on fumes, man. This team needs that off day on Thursday in the worst
There's
way.
no reinforcements, too. I was trying to see who the call-up is, and Cruz can't come up for a few more days, and then you're into the Ron Marinacios, who's destined for a DFA.
Now, one interesting thing that happened today is that the Padres did not use Sean Reynolds in a piggyback role, which I thought they were going to do. I thought that hell or high water, Burgert would be out after 5, and that Reynolds would take the 6th, the 7th, and maybe the 8th. And instead, he came in the 7th, faced 3 hitters, and was out. So Sean Reynolds might have a role to play against the Dodgers that I wouldn't have expected. Morgan's a kid that, don't throw a first pitch fastball, but Morgan's a kid that the Dodgers haven't seen. That's somebody that you might be. But the Padres are going to have to keep leveraging these arms. Just having the basic pitching stats up for the Padres, though, by the way, just has some funny things. 2 things that we're going to get the fuck out of here. Wandy Peralta, 12 earned runs. Nobody else is like within a mile of him. He's walked 14 batters in 28 innings. But Robert Suarez, 28 and a third innings, 13 hits, 30 strikeouts, 20 for 21 saves, 2.13 ERA plus, 0.7 whip. Let us all please enjoy the final season of Robert Suarez as Padres closer. He is having a fucking whale of a year, and he will not be a Padre in 2026.
Yeah, people thought his contract was untradeable in the offseason, and that was incorrect analysis.
No, in fact,
his contract was not tenable for him.
The Padres got a massive gift that nobody took on Robert Suarez because they were trying to trade him.
He said nobody returned the call.
Yeah. They tried to trade him all winter. And instead, he's doing what they were afraid of, which is pitching well enough that he's going to opt out. He's going to opt out. He gone. He's going to get an Edwin.
Yeah.
He'll get an Edwin Diaz deal in the winter. He's earned it.
Are there too many Diaz's, Craig? Just like there's too many Peraltas?
Jesus. Whoa.
I don't know,
Trust and
Craig.
safety guy checking in.
It's a little suspect. There's not too many Joneses or Smiths, Craig.
No, yes, there are.
Not too many
Absolutely. If they were on our team, I'd be fucking them up all the time. But no, Elias and Edwin, that's an old one for me. That's
Brandon Lockbreath begs to differ.
Yeah, that's kind of like my original, so I have to keep bringing it out, But Suarez gone at the end of the year, but let's ride him to the end of the year.
That's great.
Because
that's great news for the Padres.
Yeah, he's giving you what you need. It is.
Yep.
It really is. It really
AJ
is.
Preller masterclass.
Him and Kolek. AJ, good week for you. Anything else, boys? Let's wrap it up.
Fucking go Padres, dude.
Go, please, guys. Do it. Do the thing, boys. Do the thing.
Scoring?
No,
all of it.
Beating the fucking Dodgers.
Not scoring.
No, not just scoring. Like pulverizing. Like
there will be no pulverizing.
You don't know that. They can get crazy. The Dodgers have been beaten by like 20 runs this year. Let's go, Padres. You beat teams by 20 runs this year.
Okay.
Do the thing. Do the thing.
LFGST.